Welcome to the 36th episode of Season Tickets. I'm Michael.
I'm Max.
This will be a show where we will be telling you how we make every single episode of FHS Season Tickets. So Max, what's the first thing that we have to do making FHS Season Tickets?
We gotta go on the Fairview Sports page, the athletic director Twitter page, ran by Mr. Carter, and he tweets out the scores of all the games, and we forward them to you guys.
Yeah, and we also have to get some pictures from Worded.com, so we're going to show you how we do that right now.
So here, I'm checking the Twitter page. This is Mr. Carter. So you can see Mike Roth and his JVT only dropped 37 last night. You gotta step up your offense, Mike, sorry. And then we go to Woodard. Oh, Max Coleman. But, and then from right here, we just take a team picture because they don't normally have pictures of the games. They may have one or two, but that's like later in the year. And I just take a screenshot. I'm not gonna do it now because I already have one. But simple stuff right there. That's how we get our Fairview Sports stuff.
So after we found all the Fairview sports, we now have to look at the college and professional sports. So we start off right here. I'm looking at the college basketball schedule, and I see Butler versus Purdue. So I can go into my show. I already added Butler versus Purdue, and we have a list of all the games that we have to preview because we went through the NFL schedule already. We looked through all the games. Like for the NFL schedule this week, we have Pittsburgh versus Cincinnati, Denver versus Pittsburgh, Green Bay versus Arizona, and a couple more, which you will see us preview during the show. We also go through all the college football bowl games, and we see which ones we find appropriate to preview during our show, and we go through our script. So now that we've found all of the games that we have to preview, we now have to make our script. So if you can see on the computer right here, we have all the games that we need to preview. So we start off with Villanova versus Virginia, and I'm going to take Virginia. So Michael, I am going to take Virginia over Villanova, and I will tell you why that in a show, but I'll write because Malcolm Brogdon is a beast.
Like you're giving away the show.
Yeah, I know. They'll hear this again during the show. Malcolm Brogdon is amazing, and Villanova struggled against
Oklahoma,
their only ranked opponent in Oklahoma. Max, who do you have?
I'm gonna go with Virginia too, and I'm not gonna reveal why until the show.
So we do that. As you can see right here, we have our show, we have the script, so now I can delete Villanova versus Virginia. So that's how we create our script, and that's how we kind of sound a little bit more clear during our show because everything's scripted out, so there's no stuttering and we're not really creating a lot of separate ideas. We're kind of just reading mostly off of our script. So the next thing that we have to do after we find all the games that we need for Fairview and also college and professional, we are now going to start recording the actual show. So that will be the actual show. We'll start right now.
And now we're going into our predictions, as we got a lot today due to Christmas break coming up. But we're going to start off in college basketball. We have a big-time matchup between Villanova and Virginia. Who do you got, Mike?
I'm going to go with Virginia. I wasn't impressed at all with Villanova against the only ranked opponent they've played so far this year in Oklahoma. And I think Virginia has bounced back really nicely after a loss against George Washington. I think they get the win over Villanova. Max, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Virginia too. Villanova did struggle against a very good Oklahoma team. And I think Virginia is on the same level as Oklahoma. Play great defense, and Malcolm Brogdon is one of the better players in the country.
Butler takes on Purdue in a big non-conference battle. Max, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Purdue. Purdue has some good big men, and Caleb Swanigan, Asia Hammonds, Isaac Haas. I think that'll be too much for Butler.
I got Purdue as well. I think that they're just a much better overall team, much more physical and big down low, and I think they get the win over Butler, really bullying them down low.
And we got a big game between Vanderbilt and Purdue. I'm going to go with Purdue in this one as well. Like I said in the last one, I think their size will be too much for Vandy. Who do you got, Mike?
I'm going to go with Purdue. I hate picking against my own team, but with the loss of Luke Cornett as 7-foot starting power forward, I think that could be the difference in this game, as losing him is going to really affect Vandy's ability to match up down low with the bigs of Purdue, so I think that really changes the game. So I got Purdue. Max, who do you have? Oh, wait, no. Iowa State takes on Cincinnati in another key non-conference game, and I'm going to go with the Cyclones to get the win. They looked really poor against Iowa, but did somehow manage to get the win. They did storm the court after beating a non-ranked team, but that's a topic for a whole nother day. But I am going to go with the Cyclones to get the win. Max, who do you have?
I'm gonna go with the Cyclones as well, and storming the court is pretty pathetic when you're a top 10 team beating a team you probably should beat. But it's a rival nonetheless. Whatever. But I'm going with Iowa State as well. They got the ability to put up a lot of points with guys like Georges Niang, and I'm going with them. And we got a big in-state rivalry between Kentucky and Louisville. Always a good game. Who do you got, Mike?
I'm going to go with Louisville. I haven't been impressed with Kentucky at all this year. They're shooting under 30% from behind the three-point line, and I don't think that Kentucky is anywhere close to as talented as they were last year. So I got Louisville getting the win in this rivalry game. Max, who do you got?
Well, it's pretty hard for anyone to be as talented as Kentucky was last year. But I'm going to take Kentucky in this rivalry game. I think they're very talented still. And, they're mostly freshmen playing. They're still figuring it all out. Guys like Jamal Murray and Scal. And I think their talent, and it just kind of helps them get a big win in a big game.
Xavier takes on Villanova in a Big East battle, and I'm going to go with Xavier to get the win to remain undefeated. They've been very impressive so far this year, really crushing every opponent that they've played so far this year, and I just am really worried about Villanova after their loss to Oklahoma. Sure, the game was in Hawaii, but they looked really poor, so I got the Musketeers. Max, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Villanova in this one. They did look poor against Oklahoma, but, they might come out against Xavier playing better, want to get that big win. And, I think they're going to pull it out. And then another Big East battle, we have Providence and Butler. Who do you got, Mike?
I got Providence. They have had Chris Dunn for the past couple years, and he's always been fantastic. But he's finally getting some good support from some other players on his team, and I think that this is just a much better team than Providence is used to and Chris Dunn is used to for his supporting cast. So I think Providence gets the win. Max, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Butler in this one. Chris Dunn is spectacular. He is a very good player, fun to watch. He averages like 18 points, 8 assists, 6 boards. He does it all. But Butler has very experienced guys like Roosevelt Jones and Kellen Dunham. And Roosevelt Jones always seems to find himself in the right place at the right time in close games and has a couple of game winners in his career. And, if it comes down close, maybe Roosevelt comes up clutch again. And in our last Big East battle, we have Butler and Xavier. Who do you got, Mike?
I'm going to go with Xavier to get the win. I have been really impressed with them so far this season. They really crushed Dayton when they played them, and Dayton beat my team, Vandy. So I got Xavier getting the win over Butler. Max, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Xavier, too. Xavier's probably the best team in Ohio this year. Them, Dayton, Cincinnati, all better than my Buckeyes, but it is what it is. But I see them getting a big win over Butler. It should be a fun game to watch.
Baylor takes on Kansas in a Big 12 battle, and I'm going to go with the Jayhawks to get the win because they have just a really solid overall team, a bunch of really talented players, and depth at every position. So I got the Jayhawks getting the win. Max, who do you have?
I'm going to go with the Jayhawks as well. I mean, they've looked very good this season. Guys like Wayne Selden, Perry Ellis, they're a very good team, top to bottom, well coached, and I think they're going to beat Baylor pretty handily.
And since our recording did cut off, we do have to start up back again on a new day. So we do start off on the Iowa State-Oklahoma game. Max, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Oklahoma in this one. I really like Buddy Hield and how they played this year against good teams like Villanova.
I'm going to go with Oklahoma as well. I think they're a very solid team, and this is a really solid matchup. Two top 5 teams potentially when this matchup does get played over Christmas break. So I'm going to go with Oklahoma, though, and now we go into another Big 12 matchup and the final college basketball game we will be previewing, and that's Oklahoma versus Kansas. Max, who do you have?
I got Kansas, guys like Wayne Selden, Frank Mason, Perry Ellis. I think they're one of the best all-around teams in the country, and they've been proving that so far, and I think there's too much for Oklahoma. What about you?
I totally agree. I got Kansas as well. They're one of the deepest teams in college basketball, and I think that they do get the win over Oklahoma. This will be probably another top 5 matchup. So some really good games in the Big 12 early in the season, but now we go into the college football bowl games, and I'm sure this will be Max's favorite bowl game besides the Ohio State one, Toledo versus Temple. Max, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Toledo. I'm really excited for this one. I love MAC football. And this is a really under-the-radar game. I mean, both teams were ranked in the top 25 at one point throughout the year. But I think Toledo's a better team. Their offense is really good, led by Kareem Hunt. And I think they get a big win to start off the career of Jason Campbell, their new head coach, who was also their former, offensive coordinator.
I got Toledo as well. I think that their offense will be too much for the Owls defense to contain, and I think Temple's weak offense will be the difference in this game. Toledo will score a good amount of points against a strong Temple defense, but I don't think Temple's weak offense will score a bunch of points against Toledo's weak offense. But now we go into the Chick-fil-A Bowl between Houston and Florida State, and I'm going to go with Florida State to get the victory, even though Houston has been very impressive so far this season. I am going to go with the Seminoles, as Dalvin Cook is one of the best running backs in college football, and I think he runs all over the Cougars defense. Max, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Florida State as well. I've really liked Houston this year. And Tom Herman has changed that program all the way around. I think they only won like 1 or 2 games last year, and here they are with 11. But, Florida State is a little bit too much for them. Houston hasn't played a player like Dalvin Cook all year, nor have they played a defense with guys like Jalen Ramsey and others on Florida State. And I think that powers them to a win.
Hey, Houston did play Vandy. That's a pretty talented defense. And after a couple of delays, the phone was ringing and a bunch of other stuff, we are back again, having a ton of trouble recording this show. Kind of showing just it's not like super easy and it's not all going to go well for you when you are recording this show. But we do start off once again with the Outback Bowl between Northwestern and Tennessee. Max, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Northwestern in this one. They haven't really played anybody, but, they do have the big win over Stanford and a good win over Wisconsin, too. And, I think they're going to pull off kind of what would be, I don't know, it might be an upset, might not be, but I'm going to go with Northwestern.
It would be an upset. I got Tennessee in this one. I think that they're too fast, physical, strong for the Wildcats to handle. I think that their athleticism will be the difference in this game, and they do get the victory over a very well-coached Northwestern team. And now we go into the Fiesta Bowl between Notre Dame and Ohio State, and I'm going to go with Ohio State to get the victory. I think they're pretty hungry to get the victory in this one after being left out of the college football playoff. And I do think Ohio State is one of the most talented teams in the country. Max, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Ohio State as well. I'm looking forward to a good game between these two. Both teams are very talented, but Notre Dame has some injuries kind of hurting them right now. And, I think Ohio State is definitely a top 3 team in the country. But they didn't deserve to be in the playoff, but I do think that they're better than, Michigan State. But Michigan State was a better team that day. But I think Ohio State is going to be very hungry to get a win in this one and, show that they probably did. They are a top 5 team in the country.
And now we go into the Rose Bowl between Stanford and Iowa. And I'm going to go with Stanford to get the win. Heisman finalist Christian McCaffrey is a very solid player and one of the best players in the country. There's a reason why he was in New York for the Heisman ceremony, which Derrick Henry did unfortunately win, in my opinion. But I do think that the Cardinals do get the win. Both teams are very well coached, so this should be a very solid football game. Max, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Stanford as well. I'm not expecting this to be a real high-scoring affair as both teams play very good defense. But I think the game changer is Christian McCaffrey. He's just an exceptional playmaker, and I think he should have won the Heisman. Derrick Henry had a great year, but, that's just my opinion.
Can we get Gus Johnson to call that game? Just another great Iowa game with Gus Johnson. That's all I want.
Yeah, I wish he'd call every game.
But now we go into the Sugar Bowl between Oklahoma State and Ole Miss, and I'm going to go with Oklahoma State to get the victory. I haven't been too impressed with Ole Miss after their big-time victory over Alabama, and I do think that Oklahoma State will get the victory in this one. Max, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Ole Miss, too. I really like how their defense had been playing, but Robert Nkemdiche had some issues over the weekend where he fell out of a 4th-story window and only escaped with minor cuts.
That's just bizarre. I don't even know what to say to that.
You gotta be superhuman if you fall out of a 4th-story window with cuts. But they have some playmakers on that defense, and the offense. I don't think anyone in Oklahoma State can guard Laquan Treadwell, and Chad Kelly has been playing very good most of the season.
Now we go into the Alamo Bowl between two of the hottest teams in the country, between Oregon and TCU, and I'm going to go with Oregon to get the victory simply because TCU just has too many injuries on the defensive side of the ball, and also their quarterback is also banged up. So I do think Oregon gets the victory being more healthy. Max, who do you have?
I'm going to go Oregon as well. Oregon's been playing great football so far this year. They've won like 7 or 8 straight. With Vernon Adams fully healthy, if he had been fully healthy the whole year, this is probably an 11-1, possibly 12-0 team. But TCU also has Trayvon Boykin, so it's going to be a real fun quarterback matchup. But he's been banged up a little bit this year, And I think Oregon being fully healthy, playing how good they are, I think they pull it out. And we go into the college football playoff now, and the first matchup of that day will be Oklahoma versus Clemson. Who are you going with, Mike?
I'm going to go with Oklahoma to be the second straight 4 seed to beat the number 1 seed. I think that they're one of the most complete teams in the country, and I'm really interested to see how this game goes. After last season, Clemson did destroy Oklahoma in a bowl game, so I wonder how that's going to impact the game, but I am going to go with the Sooners to get the victory in this one. Max, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Clemson. I'm really excited for this one. This is going to be a great matchup. But, Deshaun Watson is the best quarterback in the country, and he's just been having a great season. And I think he's got some playmakers on the offense around with Artavius Scott and Wayne Gallman. And the defense is led by stud defensive tackle Shaq Lawson, who's really impressed me throughout the year. And I think that they pulled this one out in a great game against Oklahoma.
And in the other college football playoff game, Michigan State takes on Alabama. Max, who do you have?
I'd love to choose Michigan State because, I love the Big Ten. And, I hate Alabama. But I am going to go with Alabama. These two teams play similar. They play great physical defense, and they just run the ball all day behind big, good offensive lines. But the difference maker is Derrick Henry, the Heisman winner. Derrick Henry's had a great season. I mean, he is deserving of the Heisman. You really couldn't go wrong with that, with Watson, McCaffrey, or Henry. Even though I do think the other two deserve it more. But Derrick Henry is an exceptional player, and I think with Alabama just going to run the ball down Michigan State's throat, I think Derrick Henry's the perfect guy to do it with.
I have Alabama as well. I think that this isn't the best matchup for Alabama going against a really big physical team like Michigan State. It'll be really interesting to see who wins the battle up front, but I do think Alabama does get the victory in this game. And now we go into some of the big NFL games over break, and Denver takes on a red-hot Pittsburgh team, and I'm going to go with Denver to get the victory in this one. They haven't been playing the best football recently lost to the Raiders on Sunday, but I do think Denver does get the victory to kind of bounce back their season. Max, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Denver, too. Their defense is just pretty dang good, and I think they can match up well with Pittsburgh's wide receivers, Chris Harris Jr., Aqib Talib, T.J. Ward. I think that could give Pittsburgh trouble with Pittsburgh's great receiving lineup.
Green Bay takes on Arizona in a key NFC battle for playoff position. Max, who do you have?
I'm going to go with the Packers in this one. Packers haven't looked great the second half of the year after a very good start. But I think that they are looking forward to this one. It's kind of an opportunity to beat one of the better teams in the NFL. And Aaron Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And at times is probably the best. I wouldn't say this year with Cam Newton and Tom Brady playing the way they are. But I think they get a big victory over Arizona.
I got Arizona in this one. I think that they're probably the most complete team in the NFC. That is not named the Carolina Panthers. So I think they do get the victory in this one. And now we go into the Cincinnati-Denver game. And my Cincinnati Bengals have to be the most unlucky team come playoff time. Last season, 4 of their top 5 receivers were hurt entering their playoff game against the Colts. And this season, Andy Dalton is likely done for the season. It helped me in fantasy. I still couldn't even win playing against him. And now we go into the Cincinnati-Denver game, and I just see no way Cincinnati wins this game. Could you imagine A.J. McCarron against that Denver defense? Oh boy, that's going to be a field day for that Denver defense. So I definitely have Denver winning, but I'm just so disappointed that the Bengals will not be able to prove the doubters wrong once again this season after getting that injury. I don't feel like they will. I believed in them, but after that, I just see no way back from them. Max, who do you have?
I'm going to go with an upset. I'm going to take the Bengals. A.J. McCarron played very good in big games in college. And I mean, college and pro is a whole different world, even from playing for Alabama in the national title game. But I'm going to go with kind of an upset here. Just throw the ball to A.J. Green. It's going to be wild, Mike. You watch.
No way. But Minnesota takes on Green Bay in a key NFC North battle. Max, who do you have?
This is kind of a fun game as my dad grew up a Vikings fan. And, I used to love Brett Favre as a kid. So, like Packers not as much as I like the Browns. But let's not talk about the Browns. Well, they did get a good win this Sunday against a team that's probably worse than them.
Now we're not getting the number 1 pick.
Well, I don't think anyone with Phillip Rivers and Joe Flacco on San Diego and Baltimore is taking a quarterback. Not that I really even want one. I don't like any of them. But anyways, Minnesota can never beat Green Bay in big games, as you saw earlier in the year when they were playing as the top for the number 1 position in the division. And this one will probably be for the division again. And Minnesota never comes up in big games against the Packers, and I think the Packers are just a better team.
I got Green Bay as well. I think that they're just a more complete team, and Aaron Rodgers has a big game against the Vikings defense. And Seattle takes on Arizona in an NFC West battle, and I got the Cardinals getting the victory because I do believe that since the game is at Arizona without the home field advantage for Seattle, Arizona does get the victory. Arizona even did beat them in Seattle this year, so I think they make it 2 for 2 and beat the Seahawks again. Max, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Arizona too. I was planning on picking Seattle, but Thomas Rawls is hurt, and who knows if he'll be back. And, he's been having a great year. Another MAC product when Central Michigan. And I think Arizona right now is the better team than Seattle.
And that will wrap it up for our recording of the script. The next thing we are going to be doing is showing Max how we gather up all the videos, so that will be on the screen right now.
Alright, so how we get the videos is you go on YouTube, and since our first one is Villanova, Virginia, we get the Virginia basketball one. We both pick them. Let me see. Let's pick this one. Click the link, copy it. Accidentally hit something wrong. Go to copy. Go to YouTube to MP4. Paste. Download MP4. Download MP4.
So the final thing that we have to do is go edit the video. So I have to take all the edited clips from Final Cut Pro, and I then insert them into the movie right here. So as you can see right here, we do have all the edited clips right here, and this will be going into the edited clips. You can see our intro right here, and also all of the things that Max did, like showing you how we get all the Fairview sports and everything else for our show. So we have to edit it up, and that's basically all we have to do to make our video. So that will wrap it up for this really special episode of FHS Season Tickets. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe for more season ticket videos.